Hey friends, welcome back to Hope, Health, and Ha-Has. I'm your host, Winny Chan, soon to be National Board Certified Wellness Coach and board member of the Ray of Light Fertility Foundation. This is the podcast where we talk about hope, health, healing, and sometimes a little humor because let's be honest, we all need it. So in today's episode is called Things I Wish I Knew While Going Through Fertility and how I'm changing that to help others. So grab your tea, maybe your mushroom coffee, and let's dive in. When I first started IVF, I thought I was ready. And I talk about this quite often in my previous episode, but no one prepared me for the emotional toll, the waiting, the injections, and the roller coaster of hope and heartbreak. You're constantly living through between data and dreams. And when a cycle fails, that silence afterwards can feel very defeating. It's okay to say fertility treatment is hard. It tests every part of your body, your mind, your soul. You are not alone. You are not broken. Before my fertility journey, I wish I knew more about hormones and my genetics and how to respond to cortisol, nutrition, and stress. These are all the things that if someone was to ask me what I would have done differently, that would be this: understanding my entire body. Because often there are root causes that are missed in the routine lab work. Functional and integrative medicine helps uncover those hidden patterns, the ones that explain why two women could do the same protocol yet have very different outcomes. That's why my approach now focuses on integrative and functional medicine for reproductive health, comprehensive labs, paired with precise and highly personalized recommendation and tailored program. Because your body isn't failing, it's communicating. You just need someone who knows how to interpret it. And that's me. So traditional fertility labs look at things like the thyroid hormones, the T3s, T4s, AMH for egg reserve, FSH, and LH for ovulation, and then the progesterone and the prolaxin for cycle balancing. But imagine pairing that with a deeper analysis, okay? Combining that with hormone data, cortisol patterns, nutrient levels, oxidative stress markers, even neurotransmitter balance. That's where functional testing like the Dutch Plus comes in. It helps reveal how your body is really functioning behind the scene. You learn if your body can detox estrogen properly, if your cortisol curve is healthy, and whether your inflammation or gut health might impact your fertility. These are all the things that I wish I knew. And this is why I'm putting this in my program, because I'm such a big believer in this. Here's another thing too, is when it comes to fertility, it is a whole picture. It's just not one piece. I look at it as like a pie, right? You could cut that pie up in slices. Each of those slices make a whole pie. And that's what I am bridging that gap on. So we talk quite often, and this is very, very important as well, is embryo grading and why embryos fail. Well, embryo grading isn't an exact science. An AA embryo could still be genetically abnormal, while a BB can become a perfectly healthy baby. The grading only looks good at the appearance under the microscope. When PGTA genetic testing is done, the focus is shift to what truly matters, the number of chromosomes. So if you had failed transfers, please hear this. It's not your fault. Sometimes the embryo wasn't simply genetically viable. So even though in PGTA genetic testing, it appears based off of data that it has all the chromosomes and it is high percentage of being successful, fertility is not 100% guaranteed. Okay? So healthy babies are born from embryos across grading scales from AA to CC. But gradings help doctors choose what to transfer, but it's not the final verdict. So when it came time for my own transfer, I remember just the first news when we went through the PGTA genetic testing. And it was so exciting because we're like, all right, these are very good embryos. They have gone through day 5 embryo transfer, which is known as uh, blastocyst. So by day 5, the embryo has about 60 to 120 cells and forms a fluid-filled cavity. Those blastocysts tends to have like a higher chance of implementation because they're more development likely to be chromosomally normal. But we also were able to find out the sex of our embryo. So we had 3 boy embryos, and it just felt so real. And when you look at those numbers, you're like, wow, how could this not stick, right? These are the best of the best embryos. Chromosomally, genetically, they match the range number to be that probability of being able to transfer. And I should be able to carry this, and it should stick. But when the embryologist even said, you have a beautiful blastocyst, I felt like the most like, haha, like, you're like, yes, I did it. I am genetically, have the best genetics combined with my husband, before the transfer. Like, they'll come in with like a picture and they'll be like, verify your birth date, your name, and they tell you which ones they're are going to be transferring. That transfer didn't end in a pregnancy. It shifted everything. I stopped asking the why me. I started asking, what is my body trying to tell me? And that is where I went through, and I talk about this in my other episodes, is I went into this fear mode, but I also went into my engineering mindset of trying to connect the dots, especially when all those tests, those lab works leading up to it, shows I am within that range. I am that probability of that 80% chance of success. Yeah, 80% chance of success. Because every single time you try, your chances are supposed to increase. But after my third IVF, that is where it hit me so hard because I couldn't figure out the answer. I was thinking, why was going through the same protocol over and over and expecting different results? There's something going on that we're not able to connect the dots. It took the life out of me because being told as unknown fertility felt my world ended. It felt like I would never ever have that answer. It took me a year and a half to focus on my own healing, understanding my own body, getting my hormones back to balance. And that question changed the course of my life, which led me to this, my coaching. In recent years, functional medicine has gained so much momentum for whole body approach. And for many of us walking through infertility, it's a breath of fresh air. It sure is for me, knowing what I know. But let's be honest, fertility clinics are often, they know what they're doing, okay? That's why they are here. They're amazing at what they do, but they often overlook the whole person. No one asks how your gut is functioning, how your nervous system is coping, whether you're eating real foods that day, what is your diet, what is your nutrition, right? So when you're going through the first cycle fails, it's like, all right, let's go back, do it again. And it's the same protocol. There's not that whole person questioning, and how do we bridge that gap? So that's where functional medicine changes that. It looks at why behind everything. Your hormones, stress, nutrition, immune system, toxins, your emotions. So we start with a comprehensive health assessment, labs, lifestyle, emotional patterns, even spiritual well-being, because everything is connected. When your cortisol is high, ovulation can stop. That's your stress. Just like when inflammation builds, implementation becomes harder. That is something I had no idea about. I went through so much inflammation and I thought that was just normal. I just thought that was the way that my medication was affecting my body. I was gaining so much water weight, but yet my numbers was still within the range. On my third IVF, I was put on interlipid to help with that inflammation. So when you're mentally and emotionally drained, your body senses danger and focuses on survival, not curation. It's like your body's going through fight or flight mode. So in my coaching, we focus on nutrition, anti-inflammatory, whole food diets for hormones and equality. We walk through certain foods, your lifestyle to make it more sustainable. Hormone balancing, identifying deficiency or dominance through testing. Gut healing, strengthening your microbiome to support detox and hormone regulation. And then we go into somatic regulation, like gentle breathing work, grounding, nervous system reset, and then detox support, reducing toxic loads that silently disrupts hormones. Those could be things like everyday essentials that you're using around your house. How do we reduce that? Or even certain environments that you're in. How do we reduce that? And then spiritual connection, reconnecting with your intuition, your inner peace. The mind body spirit connection is real science when you regulate your nervous system, lower the stress. Hormones support your gut, your liver, your fertility hormones respond positively. When I balanced my hormones, I could not believe this, that I thought this was the normal. I was a walking diaper pad. Like, seriously, I couldn't even wear yoga pants when it was period because my pads were so thick that my ass looked like a diaper butt. I thought that was normal, the type of period I was having, the heaviness, that I had to wear such a super ultra thick pad that was overnight thick pad. And I had to wear it during the daytime. But since I balance my hormones, my periods has been light, very minimal cramps. I could actually wear a tampon. Like, seriously, ladies, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, this is what I've been missing out. Like, I totally thought I was normal going into IVF prior to that. So my hormones were in balance way before the fertility journey. That's crazy, isn't it? All those major cramps I was having, all those heavy bleedings with the, clots coming out. I know this may sound disgusting, but that's the reality of it. When your hormones are off, your periods are off. I would have heavy, thick period bleedings from the start all the way out to day 5. It sometimes would lead to day 7. And that's not how it should be. Just so much information out there that these are the things I wish I knew or were told, or doctors were asking me about. This is why fertility goes beyond the physical. So when you stop fighting your body and start working with it and understanding it, you begin to trust that your body isn't broken. It just needs balance and support. So when science meets intuition, when data meets compassion, that's when real healing happens. That is the real outcome. When you're going into fertility or when you're starting it or thinking about wanting to conceive, when you know your body, your mindset now becomes a safe space because now you're thinking at a higher level of positivity, of going into it, knowing what you know, understanding your body, how to respond to those so you can limit and minimize a lot of those body inflammations and triggers that comes through it, especially when you start taking those medications in the IVF. There's so much balancing that needs to be done because those medications are very strong and they're meant to be that because it's meant to prepare your body to conceive. Functional medicine isn't just about supplements or protocols, it's about transformation. It's about helping your body remember how to thrive again. Sarah Mark, I've worked with them. They've been trying to conceive for over 5 years with no success. After several failed IVF rounds, they've turned to me. for functional medicine. We went through a comprehensive assessment, revealed their hormonal imbalance, nutritional deficiency, their dietary changes and stress management, and target supplements. Here's another thing too. Not all prenatal supplements is a one size fit all. That's where I look at the data when we go through the Dutch Plus assessment and I look at those numbers and I go, all right, where do we need to focus on? Do we need to have a higher omega? Do we need to have a higher vitamin D? Which part of your body is actually taking that and processing it effectively, efficiently? And what brands are the best brands out there to help work with your body? Because again, certain vitamins, and that's why there's so many vitamins out there on the counter, online. Where do you begin to go, okay, which one's the right one for my body? And which one is going to give me the most effective results? Because you're already paying so much money going through these fertility treatments, and your mind, body, and soul already is invested. This is another step that I work with Sarah and Mark to really dial that in, is understanding their dietary nutritional deficiency, but also helping them manage their stress and their supplements. They conceive naturally within a year. Like, I was so excited and thankful that they given me an opportunity and chance to allow me to work with them and help them and guide them and coach them, because this is why I do what I'm doing. And this is why I'm also so passionate about it, because everything that I have gone through, I want someone else to be successful. I want someone else, if I could help them as much as I can to close that gap and get them with not having to go through the definition of insanity and wasting so much money of doing the same protocol over and over again with no adjustment and changes. I want to be that person to help. I want to be that person to give them the best success and probability as much as I can. And then I worked with Emma. This one was very emotional and really close to my heart, because she had unexplained infertility, similar to mine. So I totally get where her mindset was. I felt such a strong connection with Emma. After 2 years of her trying, she reached out to me for functional medicine work. And through our testing, we found gut health issues and chronic stress. By healing her gut and improving nutrition and adding mindfulness practices, her cycle regulated and she conceived months later. This one with Emma felt, and I'm sorry for getting a little emotional, I felt very much like I was able to help someone and prevent someone for not having to go through the same path that I went through. And to see her thrive and to see her be able to conceive, I was like, this is what God wanted me to do. God brought me through my own journey so I could help someone like her. So these stories remind me that fertility isn't just about a medicine, it's about whole body healing. When I look back, I realize that understanding my body through functional testing wasn't just about getting pregnant, it was about reclaiming my health, my confidence, and my peace. That's what I want for my clients. The outcome for my coaching isn't just about pregnancy, it's peace of mind, a healthy body and soul, and empowerment. Because doing the same thing every round without new insight doesn't make sense. That is just what I call definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping that it would just stick. It's like going out buying a lottery ticket and hoping you win that Powerball. You know, in many cases, people are successful in that, but there's also many people that are not successful of that. And that's where I look at combining functional integrative medicine with traditional fertility care. You create a roadmap that finally connects all the dots. So if you'd like to learn more about functional testing, about my fertility coaching, reach out to me on Instagram at one Winny capital AK. And remember, you can listen now on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube. See you on the next episode. That is just what I call definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping that it would just stick. It's like going out buying a lottery ticket and hoping you win that Powerball. You know, in many cases, people are successful in that, but there's also many people that are not successful of that. And that's where I look at combining functional integrative medicine with traditional fertility care. You create a roadmap that finally connects all the dots. So if you'd like to learn more about functional testing, about my fertility coaching, reach out to me on Instagram at one Winny capital AK. And remember, you can listen now on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube. See you on the next episode.